Imagine a 2013 bingo card of companies that were supposed to transform the world over the next 10 years. Like, you would have bet for WeWork maybe, but we know how that went. Maybe Vine, Stripe, but Reddit? This is how Reddit looked in 2013.
Reddit has come under fire for allowing users to post illicit photos.
Smash some
Well, the young man who founded the social website Reddit has died.
Founders had left, nobody liked the CEO, they were just another notch on their Condé Nast's belt, and yet they had this unique, powerful community that absolutely loved the platform. But Reddit might become one of the most important companies in history. It's part of your daily lives so much more than you realize, and community is indeed one of those 4 key pieces as to why. Reddit might be the last town square of real, unfiltered human conversation. Not sorted algorithmically, not reshaped by AI or by formality, just real humans exchanging ideas. And Reddit holds the keys to this priceless database. They're sitting on a literal gold mine, but very much an accidental one, because this is not what Reddit set out to do at all. They are the quintessential startup origin story. Y Combinator company, first product launched in like 3 weeks, from first line of code to a $10 million exit in like 2 years. And man, it's just too good of a story. Let's just cut the video here. We're just gonna find a way to fit it. Now, picture 2006. These 2 guys, Alex Ohanian and Steve Huffman, they wanted to do a startup before startups were a thing.
In Virginia, during that time, we didn't call them startups, we called them small businesses.
This is pre-iPhone, pre-smartphones. These guys catch wind of a lecture by this dude, Paul Graham, who likes to talk about startups. And instead of going to Cancun with the rest of their senior year class, they take a train to Boston to hear Paul speak.
So Paul gave his lecture, which at the time is really, he just stands there and stares into his paper and reads an essay.
And so they force themselves upon him and convince him to meet later so they can pitch their company.
And he agreed because you boys came all the way from Virginia.
I think he was shocked we had trains.
Yeah.
We had a great name though.
What was the name?
My Mobile Menu.
Oh, perfect.
Or
Great.
I spent days working on that guy.
Now, the startup idea wasn't much better than that. My Mobile Menu was this POS system to order sandwiches while you pump gas. Yeah. But anyway, Paul Graham tells them about this program that he's starting that's called Y Combinator, first class, and that they should apply. And so they did.
And we got the call. Hello? And he said, I'm sorry, we're rejecting you. That really sucks. We were gonna prove him wrong though. We went out drinking and we were gonna prove them wrong. And then the next morning on the way back, he called. He's like, we still don't like your idea. It's like, why would you call to say that? We like you two. And if you change your idea, we'll invest.
That's not how Y Combinator works anymore though. You need better ideas to get in these days. But Paul sat down with them to brainstorm on this thing, and out of that brainstorm session, they couldn't find a company name, but they found a product idea and a slogan.
The front page of the internet.
Okay, so now we're gonna have to fast track to the rest. Launched the product in June 2005 after coding for just 3 weeks. Condé Nast acquired the company about a year later with the intention of keeping it rather independent from the rest of their stuff. They mostly held on to that promise, but for the next 2 decades, Reddit would lose money every single year. The founders left, this guy became CEO, and we are back at the bingo card. This is not a very successful business, but it is an incredible community.
It's a story that's quickly going viral on Reddit.
This person later posted the video of what happened to
Reddit AMA today.
Because it's happening on Reddit today.
All right, Reddit, ask me anything.
By this time, Reddit was a cultural phenomenon, 37 billion page views, an AMA by a sitting president, the main source of internet lore. And what happens in Reddit has real world influence. What better example than Wall Street Bets?
A bunch of retail investors on a Reddit subthread called
Wall Street Bets,
where amateur investors talk about quick stock bets.
As for me, I like the stock.
2 external factors also helped establish Reddit as what it is now. First, on a smaller scale, Reddit's main competitor in 2010 was this platform called Dig. We made a whole video about them. They came up with this controversial redesign of the interface of the product that left the community so mad that everybody boycotted them to move to Reddit. The Reddit community has tried to boycott Reddit about their UI changes, about their app shifts, but they haven't. In the end, we all go back to Reddit. But perhaps the most important upset is the slow but very real demise of Google search. Now, the reason why Google became the most popular search engine in the world is because 90s search engines sucked. All they did was try and match the keyword that you searched against the keywords that you could find on a page. And that kind of worked at first, but the moment marketers figured it out, they just started gaming the algorithm by stuffing the page with that keyword. True story, they would write the keyword 1,000 times and just hide it behind the background of the page. Google came up with a much better system that made them the search giant that they are today. Now, the founders of Google wrote this paper in 1998, and they transformed search by ranking a page not by its keywords, but by considering the pages that link to it. So the more backlinks a page has, the more authority it has in the eyes of Google.
The page is important if important web pages point to it.
But there's a problem with that logic. Now, another thing that was happening in 1998 was that people were snatching pretty much every decent .com domain out there, leaving us with nothing but weird, hyphenated, long keyword name domains for the startups that we might want to launch. And grabbing a good single word .com domain is nearly impossible today. But different communities have embraced alternative domain extensions. Media, for example, adopted .tv domains, and by all means, the domain that tech startups are embracing is .tech. Over 500,000 tech startups worldwide that have collectively raised over $5 billion in funding are using .tech domains to make their mark. Now, the guys from .tech are offering you guys a 50% discount on your first year registration if you use the link in the description. Plus, if you buy a domain, or if you already own a .tech domain, you can get free office hours with my team and I to help brainstorm about your company's pitch deck, or your financials, or your marketing, or maybe a YouTube channel, or your fundraising strategy, which is exactly what my company does. We'll be selecting 2 companies over the next few weeks to join us for office hours. Grab a single word .tech domain for 50% off, and don't miss out on one-on-ones with my team and I. And again, thanks to .tech for sponsoring today's video. Now, the problem with Google's logic was, or is, that people will always try and succeed at outsmarting it. Google's actual algorithm is probably their best kept secret. The code for most of Google's products is visible to pretty much every employee in the company. They're encouraged to see it, read it, reference it, fix it, but the search algorithm is kept under bolts and locks and is only known to a very small set of engineers, because the moment that people know what the algorithm is, they can just reverse engineer it to rank better. And ranking in Google is a huge business. But even without knowing the exact algorithm, companies can game it, literally paying hundreds of dollars for backlinks from other ranked pages, or publishing longer and longer content because Google likes it best. Think of every recipe that you've ever found online. You have to scroll through these insufferable story of how the recipe came to be, how they found it from their grandma's second cousin and changed it. They also favor pages where people spend more time, which is exactly what you do if you have to scroll through this entire story, or if a second article gets loaded automatically when you're done with the first one. I mean, these are all hacks to the algorithm. Google likes longer articles and tends to rank them better. A recipe is too short of a content piece, so publishing alone wouldn't rank well and nobody would see it. SEO is this game of cat and mouse, but after decades of playing that game, we have ended up with this. Just millions of Google optimized pages. Maybe Google discovers the best answer to your question, the insightful article, but it just ranks third. So it doesn't get many traffic at all. And then bring AI into the mix. How much of that content comes from bots? And this is an even bigger problem, but I'm gonna get back to it. So the point is, the content that is getting the first spot is oftentimes not the best, not the real content, just the best optimized one, and people have noticed. So what is an incredible solution to that problem of just fake or optimized content? Just add Reddit to your search term. The demise of Google search has given Reddit this incredible strength. If you want a real human answer to a question, you go to Reddit. But this has been going on for years. These 3 pieces of the puzzle have kept Reddit growing its user base every single year, but they still lost money, so where's the gold mine? Well, one of Reddit's own investors started this little non-profit organization a few years back, and as of writing, well, it's the 3rd most valuable startup in the world. Sam's investment firms own about 9% of Reddit, some $3 billion worth, and Reddit is arguably the most important source of AI training available on the internet. But to get why, we need an explainer time. Large language models like the one behind ChatGPT and Gemini work by learning from existing content. So if you were to zoom in, what an LLM did to learn was break down words into pieces called tokens, and it found patterns and connections between them. It learns, for example, that these 4 letters may be followed by either one of these sets of letters, and it understands the context of other words and other tokens that are usually around them.
A large language model does this at an incredible scale, and that's what makes them so smart. A model like GPT-4 was trained on about 10 trillion of these tokens. After the model learns these patterns, it can apply that knowledge to quote-unquote understand what you write and then replicate it and write something that very
much looks like a human answer to your question. Do you remember when ChatGPT first released late 2022 and it blew everybody's minds?
2023 being the year of artificial intelligence.
Things are about to get really, really wild.
Now AI can write anything just like humans do.
It's pretty crazy.
AI is going to take your job.
That statement is real.
That's insane. That's insane.
But eventually, the data that you can learn from runs out.
Now, long before ChatGPT was released, OpenAI had been crawling every single piece of text it could get its hands on. It's not just the internet, it's books, it's papers, and any other data set. Now, people didn't understand LLMs back then. Nobody knew that they were about to transform the world or replace their jobs. I'm pretty sure OpenAI wasn't particularly open about what it was crawling before everybody knew about it, because it was just information that was there. It was open, it was available online anyway. But it turned out OpenAI wasn't as non-profit of a company as we thought. And so companies weren't that chill about just letting them make money from the content that they wrote. Content that was human generated suddenly became a commodity.
The company is being sued by the New York Times for allegedly using its articles without authorization to train its AI models.
But there are other problems with this. Data from pages from your usual marketing or salesy.com website is not great. First, it may be politically or otherwise skewed. It makes the bots opinionated. Also, it's probably written more formally or with some form of marketing tone. But even more crucially, the moment LLMs became public and viral, a lot of the content on the web is probably written by those same bots, by those same large language models. So how do you set it apart? This thing needs to learn from how real humans write. It's a big mess if it just learns from itself. And it's getting a lot harder to find new content, real new content on the web. Elon knew it, and he immediately blocked crawling from Twitter so he could use it for his own chatbot. And so lo and behold, Reddit. On May 2024, Reddit announced a partnership with OpenAI to give the company access to its user-generated content. In their Q3 earnings report, they showed their first profitable quarter ever, with a growth of 68% in revenue. Part of that was a massive growth of 50% in monthly active users from the previous year, and I think that you can attribute part of that to that Google piece of the puzzle. I think you can also attribute that to their interface becoming more and more intuitive, especially to onboard new people that weren't familiar with the old Reddit style. But non-ad revenue from Reddit grew from $20 million in Q1 to $33 million in Q3, not to mention the part of the OpenAI deal that also comes with an ad partnership. So we don't know exactly how much OpenAI is paying them, but it made them profitable. More than a historic quarter for the company, Reddit has now become this crucial piece of technology, this crucial repository of human behavior that is key to the AI understanding our human behavior. And whether that's good or bad, we're gonna have to wait and find out. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, you should watch our episode on the third founder of Snapchat, one that the other two founders did everything they could to kick out of the company. Catch you in the next one.